Hello and welcome to the Paranormal Paradigm Podcast with your hosts, me, Kieran Woodhouse.
And me, Ben Kelly.
The idea behind this podcast is it's just going to be a pilot episode where we're going to give you an introduction into ourselves and what it is that got us into the field of the paranormal, and of course what you can expect from us going forward with the podcast in terms of guests, formats, and where you can find the podcast in the future. So let's get going. So Ben, what was it that really got you into the field of the paranormal?
Well, to be honest, it was yourself having an interest.
Okay.
Paranormal has always sort of intrigued me, but until I knew you were into it quite heavily, that sort of got me thinking more about it, researching into it a little bit more, and that's what got me into it.
Okay, nice to see that I kind of inspired you there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So for myself, it's kind of been a lifetime really of as a hobby. As a child, I've always been into the paranormal. Growing up in a haunted house kind of didn't give me a choice when it came to being into spirits and ghosts.
Yeah, kind of forced upon you that way.
Living with my mum's nan, who would visit us regularly after she'd died, was enough to give me an interest into this field. And for those that aren't aware, myself and Ben have spent a couple of years now as part of a paranormal investigation team who go out and about within the UK, investigating different locations and with pieces of equipment and guests and friends and crew members, and we just have an all-round good time.
Yeah, it's been very interesting couple of years, especially from my point of view, because I've come into this being quite sceptical about things.
Yeah.
And I've had things happen and experienced certain things that have made me question everything.
Yeah, I mean, the sceptical side of things is something that I always kind of adhere to, because I believe that you've kind of got to rule out what something isn't before you can say what it is. So not everything that you hear on a paranormal investigation is a ghost. 9 times out of 10, it's someone shuffling their feet or it's someone's belly rumbling at 1 o'clock in the morning. So we always try and look at the sceptical side of things before we jump down the throat of it being paranormal.
Yeah, and I think that's what we want to do with this podcast as well, is anytime we discuss anything or have guests on, we want to explore the logical reasoning behind it before going over the line into the paranormal. Yeah,
that's absolutely right. So, so in terms of guests, we've got a few people already lined up that we're going to be interviewing over the next probably 2 to 3 weeks, and the plan is that we're going to upload this podcast probably once every 2 weeks, just so we're not, at the end of the day, we're busy guys in our personal lives as well, and it kind of just gives you guys enough content to be listening to as well.
Yeah, so what we're going to look at is different things like famous hauntings from around the world. Obviously we're going to have guests on, like we've already said, our personal experiences, anything that's comes up in the news to do with paranormal sort of things. That's going to generally be the format of these podcasts. I think we're going to aim for roughly 45 minutes-ish per podcast. Obviously depends on the amount of content that we've got, who we're speaking to, all that sort of thing. Could overrun that. Could be an hour, 2 hours if we get lucky. Who knows? That's if people will listen to us for 2 hours.
I think really it probably has to be a 45-minute podcast minimum, because if you get someone on that's going to have a lot to talk about, it's only fair to give them the airtime.
Yeah, you're going to want to you ask your questions and get them to discuss what their experiences have been and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and as you know yourself from doing interviews, sometimes you when it's time to end the interview, you're only just warming up, so it's probably best to give them as much time as possible without boring the listeners, of course. And also it's not just going to be about ghosts. Of course, the term paranormal is a much broader term, especially these days, and it covers things such as cryptozoology with Bigfoot and Mothman and other kind of creatures around the world, as well as UFOs and extraterrestrials and anything that really does fall into the terminology of paranormal, really. And we do have a Facebook page, which is the Paranormal Paradigm. You can come on there to find any discussions about what's going on with the podcasts with us. We also have a group where you can join and just have any kind of discussion that's related to anything paranormal. We have a YouTube channel, so that's the Paranormal Paradigm Podcast, and you can find us on Podbean with the same name, Paranormal Paradigm Podcast. We're saying that quite a lot.
We are saying that
it's
quite
a tongue
lot,
twister.
Hopefully that'll get it into people's minds.
Yeah.
And then people remember. So if anyone wants to send us any messages, any information, any pictures, obviously that can go onto the Facebook page. We also have a Paranormal Paradigm Podcast at gmail.com email address set up. So if anyone's got stories they want to share, but maybe you don't want to come onto the show and that sort of thing, then we can read those out. Just contact us. Like I say, Facebook or Gmail are going to be the best options for everyone.
Yeah, and if anyone has a review of a particular interview or a particular episode that we've done and they want to leave some feedback, please feel free to contact us and we'll be sure to read it out on the next episode that we record. And of course, going forward, we'll probably look at getting some merchandise made, some badges, some car stickers and the like. So you can be proud that you listen to, here we go again, the Paranormal Paradigm Podcast.
And another thing, if people are going on their own paranormal investigations, then feel free to share your experiences again back to that Facebook page. Upload your own photos. There's no sort of rules and regulations. As long as it's to do with the paranormal, then it's pretty free game.
Yeah, I mean, try not to come on with anything political or conspiracy based.
Yeah, we want to stay away from that sort of thing, really.
And whilst I'm probably one of the biggest conspiracy theorists you could ever come across, this is kind of a side project for myself where I do wish to just focus on the realms of the paranormal.
So yeah, I mean, if you want us to discuss anything in particular, any particular paranormal events, if you've got any ideas of guests you'd like us to try and get on here, or even if you'd want to be a guest on here yourself, then again, just drop us a line either through the email, through the Facebook page. We are easy to contact, and we can take it all from there and see where this goes. So that's it really. As I said at the start, this was nothing more than a pilot episode, a little intro into who we are, what we do, and what we want this podcast to be about. We're fully aware that there are hundreds of podcasts that are similar to this that are all out there, and they're all great in their own way, and we just want to, add a little bit of our own kind of taste into it, and be a part of the great paranormal movement that is happening all around the world. And of course we'd like you to be a part of it too, and we'd like to become regular listeners. So please do keep in touch with us on the Facebook page, where you can find updates for what will be our official first episode, which we're looking to have recorded hopefully within the next couple of weeks. I think we should say again, this is the Paranormal Paradigm Podcast.
Just in case you hadn't got that.
Yeah, so this is where we're going to leave this episode. Again, it's just a pilot. We hope to have you come back in the future to listen to future episodes. And thank you for taking the time to listen to us. So until next time, goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.